Mom and Dad, Alpha's Disseminator is not for kids.
Red, mes amis, this is HD, the Harvest Disseminator, bringing you a review of the Hasbro Marvel Legends 2020 Walgreens exclusive Moon Knight. Without further ado, let's chop them up. Looking at the packaging, you can see that my packaging is a little bit soiled right here. I went to Walgreens. Something told me, HD, go to Walgreens. They might have the Moon Knight, man, because I've seen it popping up on Instagram. And I went and boom, he was there at one of my local Walgreens on Elysian Fields. And sure enough, man, he was there, and I picked him up because it's like, you don't know if you're going to find him again, right? You just have no idea. He might become a Medusa, you know what I'm saying? At our local Walgreens, there's like 30 Medusas in each one, and ain't nobody buying them, all right? These probably need to give them away. Put them on clearance for like $3, man, and clear them out. But so I picked them up despite that. But here's the good news about it. When I brought it to the register, the cashier couldn't find it. It wasn't in their system, right? So she ran a price check. The other employee came back and said, yeah, it's $12. So I actually got him for $12, and you can't complain about that. And I put it out on Instagram, and another local collector took advantage of the same deal and went boom and got him for $12 too, because there were two of them there. So he looks good in the packaging, y'all. You do have a Moon Knight logo right here in terms of the font. You have the logo up here on top. You're going to have an artistic depiction of Moon Knight. You're going to have the art on both sides of the packaging. On the back, you're going to have a product shot, and there's going to be a brief write-up. A vision in an Egyptian temple leads Mark Spector to don a shroud and become the crime-fighting hero Moon Knight. He's a phenomenal character. We'll get into his biography a little bit here in a moment. Boom, you got a barcode here at the bottom, and that's what it is, man. So look, let's get this guy out of the packaging and see exactly what the fuss is about. And here he is out of the packaging, and I gotta say that I'm really happy to have an all-white Marvel Legends Moon Knight. That Mezco really tempted me for the longest time. In terms of having an all-white Moon Knight, I just didn't want to pay the price for it. I am paying it for Gambit, however, because he's my favorite character. But I'm really glad that Hasbro gave us this. In the video, I will compare him to the previous Marvel Legends Moon Knight from Hasbro. We'll take a biographical sketch of the character, look at his accessories, his sculpt, articulation, again comparing him to the previous release. And yes, let's go ahead and do that. But first, I want to thank everybody for subscribing. If you haven't done so, please consider doing it. Hit the notification bell, give the video a like. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed. I have hit the 200 subscriber mark, and I really appreciate y'all. So with that said, y'all, let us get into his character. Moon Knight made his first appearance in Werewolf by Night number 32. That was published in 1975. In this issue, he was actually presented as a villain. He's a hired mercenary by an organized crime outfit named the Committee. And of course, he was hired to capture Jack Russell, and they wanted to use him as a weapon for their purposes. In this issue, we also have the first appearance of Frenchie, which would be Moon Knight's sidekick. His real name's Jean-Paul Duchamp. However, in Marvel Spotlight number 28, published in 1971, he's going to be recast as a hero. He'll be given a little bit more of a background. It's going to be revealed that he was a Marine who worked with the CIA and fought in several wars, becoming a mercenary for hire. It's also alluded that he has several personalities in this issue. His recast as a hero is solidified when he appears along Spider-Man and Spectacular Spider-Man number 22 and 23, and of course in those issues they're fighting against Cyclone. He would briefly join the Defenders for a 5-issue run in Defenders 47 through 51 that was published in 1972. He would also appear alongside The Thing in Marvel 2 and 1 number 52 that was published in 1974. And let us fast forward to 1980 when Moon Knight gets his first title run comic book. In this issue, number 1, Mark Spector's origin story will finally be revealed. In this issue, he's going to be found alongside Bushman in northern Sudan on a mercenary job. While on the job, Bushman learns of a pharaoh's tomb in Salima and wants to go and steal the gold, of course, because that's what villains do. So what happens is they arrive in Salima, Bushman rounds up all of the men in the town and has him assassinated. Mark Spector is going to confront Bushman, but he's bested and left for dead in the desert by Bushman, so he's overcome by him. He manages to stumble to the site of the pharaoh's tomb where he allegedly dies. Mark is revived as he lies in the shadow of the statue of Khonshu. The book purposefully makes it unclear whether Khonshu revived him or not. Nonetheless, Mark gives the credit to Khonshu, who was the god of the moon, known as the Taker of Vengeance, takes Khonshu's robe, and starts out assuming his identity as Moon Knight. In this issue, he also takes on the identity of Stephen Grant, a Wall Street investor, and Jake Lockley, a cab driver. In number 4 of this run, his villainous first appearance is cleared up. In this issue, there's a flashback where Frenchie actually presents himself to the committee. He recommends Mark Spector for this job, and the whole purpose of him becoming a mercenary for the committee is to actually infiltrate them and, of course, capture a werewolf in the process. So he's the one that gave the committee Moon Knight's robe and costume, and so they kind of clear up his villainous origins in this issue. And finally, in issue number 37, we're given his early life biography. In issue number 37, we find that his father was a rabbi, he's raised Jewish, and he resisted his father's religious ways. You know, his father's bullied. At one point, a swastika was even etched into his forehead, and he never fought back, you know, and Mark Spector really resented his father for not resisting the anti-Semitism. He becomes a boxer. Of course, he becomes a Marine. But during his boxing career, his father comes into the ring and tries to stop him. And Mark actually ends up punching him in the face and knocking him to the ground, man. And, you know, man, I would never imagine myself hitting my dad, man. Never, ever. I would never dare to do that. You know what I'm saying? So for somebody to do that, man, I could see how it could create some trauma in their lives. And maybe this led to Mark Spector, you know, having mental illness and dual personalities, etc., etc. I can't wait to see how he's going to be presented in his Disney Plus MCU show. Nonetheless, you know, we did receive a Moon Knight figure already, and we'll take a look at him in the comparison of aspect or part of the video. And just know that that particular Moon Knight was revealed in Moon Knight number 1 in 2004. Okay? And so, yeah, man, with all of that said, let us take a look now at his accessories. In terms of his accessories, Moon Knight does come with 2 different head sculpts. His face is white in the comic books. However, because he is presented to be active at nighttime a lot, he has this hood that casts a shadow over his face. So a lot of times, you know, his face is all mysterious and it's black. So they did give us this black head sculpt to allow you to, you know, present him in your photography to have that shadowed face, but his face is in fact white. When a light shines on it, you can see that it is white. So we do get those 2 head sculpts. We get 2 sets of hands. We have these opened hands right here that look like trigger hands, which are alright. And these are meant for his bigger crescent darts or his crescent boomerang. And so those, you know, fit, you know, nice and snug into his hands with no problem right there. So that's really nice. Okay. 2 of those. And of course, he's going to have a bow staff this time around. Okay. Previously, he came with, I believe, the same type of sticks that came along with Daredevil. But now he gets this bow staff, and of course this was first used with Gambit, and it's painted white here. It looks really good. And he comes with these 2 fisted hands as well. And with the fisted hands, he's going to have the crescent moons on his hands. And this is kind of what left me wondering, because, you know, he has these open hands on the older figure, and the older hands have the crescents on them as well. You can see it right there. around his thumb and around his hand right here. And so you get the same thing with these fisted hands, so you could use them interchangeably. I'm guessing the reason why they didn't give us these hands again for those is perhaps because in the comic books when he was first presented with the all white, he didn't have those crescents on his hands. But they gave them to us with this one, so that's why I was just wondering, a little confused. They could have reused those other hands and given them to us again, but they chose not to, which is alright, because in the comic books, again, when he was wearing this costume, he doesn't necessarily have these, but they gave them to us nonetheless with the fisted hands. Now, the cool thing with these fisted hands, he comes with 3 crescent darts. Be very careful. These things are extremely easy to lose, and you can see that there's these little holes here in the hand. You see that? And you could port the crescent darts right in there. It's not an easy thing to achieve. That's why I had one in there before I even started. I'll try to get one and move it to another one of these holes on camera here. All right, so you just take it and pop it in right there. But trying to get all 3 of them in there at once can prove to be a little bit tricky. All right, because they keep wanting to fall out. But you just play around with it, and you can get them in there. And they definitely look good. See, one fell out. They definitely look good in your photography. You could see that when I was giving you the biography of the figure. See, they keep falling out. I had all 3 of them in. So just work with it, man. It might take a minute, but definitely be worth your time to get all 3 of them in if you're doing action figure photography. Now let us take a look at the sculpt of the figure. What we have here is a 1980s Moon Knight. All right, y'all. I like the way that the figure is presented. Mezco added like a lot of armor to the figure, man, and it did look good. However, a lot of that armor is just not there in that 1980s portrayal of Moon Knight. Now, one thing I wish they would have done, Hasbro, is I wish they would have sculpted this into his chest. We probably never ever see that, you know what I'm saying? But it looks good for what it is right there. In that 1980s run, he is going to have these stripes right here in his gloves. Also on his boots right here, he'll have these stripes. Another feature is he does wear this belt with the crescent moons on the belt. All right, so this is very accurate to the 1980s portrayal of the figure, and I'm totally digging what we have here. Now, as we look at the sculpt, what you're going to find is that we do have some blue wash. I would say it's like a grayish wash actually here in the chest area. So you do have that wash right there. You're going to have that wash around his eyes as well. And he's going to have that wash as I give you a 360 here. You're going to see it around his hood. Okay, that goes over his head. You can see that wash right there in the back. So he does have a gray wash on his hood. And that's going to be true for both head sculpts. He's going to have that wash going around this one as well. You see it there, y'all. It looks really good. Now the shawl, the head covering is going to be different than the one that we got with the previous release. Okay, so here goes the older one here, and you can see that they're just completely sculpted different. This one's going to have more wrinkles in it as opposed to the older one right there. So you can see it is a different head covering there, okay, and it does look good. Perhaps those head sculpts are the same that are inside. You can even see here you have a more pliable plastic right here, whereas on the older figure he doesn't even have that at all. All right, it's just open right there. So I like this a lot, man. It kind of reminds me of Taskmaster's head covering. He has that pliable plastic right there as well, and I'm speaking about the comic book figure. Okay, so this looks really good. Like the gray wash. Let's set these aside and continue to look at the figure. Otherwise, what you're going to get is you're going to get a pearlescent white here with his gloves and his boots, and of course with his belt. The belt, if you want to customize this guy, you could take that off. If you want to, you can cut it off, but of course you're not going to want to do that, right? So that looks good. This is the Sunfire body mold, so this is a great improvement with this guy right here is the butterfly joint, so we'll take a closer look at that when we look at his articulation as well. So yeah, man, it's just a straight white. With this guy, you're going to have this peg right here in the cape to peg into his back, as you can see right there. So you put that on and peg that right in if you want to, or you could just let it dangle if you want as well. So that is his body mold. Again, it is the Sunfire body mold. It looks good. It's a great use of it. And here goes a quick side-by-side comparison of our new Walgreens exclusive Moon Knight based on the 1980s portrayal. And here is our Moon Knight based on the 2014 portrayal of the figure, more modern look. And of course, they're two completely different body molds. Reused parts are going to be the cape. All right, so the capes are completely reused. They're the same. You can see that the wrinkling's the same right here, and the top part of the cape up here that goes around his neck. The face face sculpts, head sculpts, they're going to be absolutely the same. Of course, this one's just painted white. Now, as we've pointed out, the head coverings are different, and of course, the body mold is going to be different. This guy's great, man. I don't want to subtract from this guy. Even though he doesn't have the butterfly joints, Hasbro did take it to a whole nother level, and they added all of this additional plastic for the chest plate. Again, that would have been nice if that would have been more carved in rather than just printed the crescent moon. But they gave him these shoulder pads. They gave him these crescent moons on his gloves right there. They gave us these hands that were sculpted specifically for him. Again, you have these crescent moons here on the side. And you have those very unique boots right there that have a little crescent on them as well. So this figure is great, man. Again, we can take a look at him from the back. See that those capes are the same. So this is a great improvement. I really appreciate the use of the Sunfire body mold as compared with this. You see this guy's a lot more beefy. He's a lot more muscular. I'm not sure what body mold that is. That might be the Grim Reaper body mold, if I'm not mistaken. Perhaps it's not. Perhaps it's a blend of different body molds. But you can see his legs are skinnier here. He's not as buffed up. But I do like and appreciate this because this is going to give him a lot more possibilities with articulation. And while we're talking about articulation, let us go ahead and get right into it. Starting with his head, of course, you have that pliable plastic right there that we talked about, so you're able to actually get this guy to look down pretty decently far. You're able to get him to look up pretty decently high. You see that, y'all? So that's good. That looks good. So that is his head. Of course, we got these butterfly joints, man. So his arms can go way back, man. And look, and the cape is designed in such a way that you could just put that to the side like that. And you can get those arms to go way back, man. You can get them, of course, to come forward. We've seen this already with the Sunfire body mold. So the articulation isn't necessarily new. It's just good. Now, it would have been great if they would have gave him that upper torso swivel like Spider-Man. But he doesn't have that. But he is able to crunch down this far. He's able to do a back crunch that far back. He is going to have waist swivel right here. And his belt will go along with him. Going back to his arms, he does have upper bicep swivel, double jointed elbows. He does have rotation at the wrist, and of course he's going to have a hinge that goes up and down with these particular hands. With his legs, they can go out that far. Upper thigh swivel, double jointed knees. He is going to have a boot swivel, which is great. His feet can go that far up, that far down. He's going to have ankle rockers right there, and he will have these peg holes at the bottom of his feet. And with his cape, you know, what would have been great for articulation is if we would have got a soft goods cape, and if it would have had bendy wire in it, because a lot of times Moon Knight uses this cape as a sort of like a parachute, you know what I'm saying? So if we could have got that, and I think I'm gonna, with this guy, I'm gonna go ahead and invest in a cape for this guy, a soft goods cape. Because I want to do some photography with this dude, man. And I want to get bendy wire in it so we can achieve that kind of like that parachute thing he does with his cape. You know, how he holds on to it, man. I really want to be able to achieve that. So yeah, man. I think I'm going to go ahead and get a bendy wire cape or make one myself. Probably not make it. Probably won't buy it. I don't think I have time to make it. I barely have time to do videos. But that would have been the one thing I would have liked to have seen. I would have liked to have had an articulated cape. But outside of that, y'all, the articulation is good. I wish, again, we would have got that upper torso swivel like we got with Spider-Man. I'm looking forward to seeing that. The pins are visible, but he's all white. So, you know, man, I'm not going to complain about that. That's all good. Pinless technology, I'm not sure how far Hasbro's going to go with that in terms of using it. They want to up the price point, but I think they should keep it at $20. And so, man, yes, articulation is on point. And our main man, Moon Knight, Mark Spector, is going to stand in right above 6 inches, almost like 6 1/4. Toy Biz did release a Jack Russell Werewolf by Night. I don't have that figure. I want him. When I find him loose at a decent price, I'm going to buy him. So to stand in for the Toy Biz Werewolf by Night is Dyer from the Fortnite video game. And of course, we have him scaled next to the Retro Spider-Man, one of the first heroes that he partnered with. Back in his 5-issue run with the Defenders back in 1972, his teammates were the Hulk, Valkyrie, Nighthawk, and Hellcat. And because in one of his earlier appearances he partnered with the Thing in Marvel 2-in-1, here he is scaled next to the Thing. And another street level hero, Daredevil. And I'm hoping one day we get a classic red outfit Daredevil with the Sunfire body mold, or even better yet, give us a Daredevil with this new Spider-Man body mold. But I would really like a red Daredevil with an updated body mold. You know, this is the Bucky cap, and you know, to me it's a little bit outdated, man. It's good for what it is. However, we need more articulation with this guy, man, because he's an acrobat. So there they are scaled together. I am super excited to see what the MCU does with Moon Knight. Some people kind of see Moon Knight as Marvel's version of Batman. I personally don't see that, man. Sure, you know, one of his alter ego, Stephen Grant, did become a millionaire, etc. But still, nonetheless, man, I really think Disney and Marvel Studios has an opportunity to really focus in on his multiple personality disorder, man, and really portray a groundbreaking character, man, that could increase in his comic book sales, man, and give him some really good comic book stories. So I really think, man, we might be blown away with Marvel Studios' portrayal of this guy, and I'm looking forward to it. But because he's going to get his own Disney Plus series, let me scale him next to some other folks that will be getting their own series. We have Sam, we have Bucky, we have She-Hulk, Wanda, Vision, and of course Miss Marvel. And speaking of Disney Plus, of course our girl Monica Rambeau is going to be in WandaVision. But nonetheless, here he is scaled next to two New Orleans born superheroes. We have the Queen of New Orleans, the most beautiful, powerful, illustrious Monica Rambeau, and the Prince of the French Quarter, the single-jointed elbowed Remy LeBeau, known in the French Quarter simply as Gambit. In conclusion, Hasbro is making some right moves here. They used a very articulated body mold to give us a new Moon Knight. He has the butterfly joints. He is very pliable. He has great articulation. They did give us the pliable hood that went over his head right there at the bottom, so you're able to articulate his head pretty well, even though he has the hood on. The cape, I wish we would have got soft goods. I know that's a lot of wishful thinking with some bendy wire, man. That would have been amazing. Mesco didn't even give bendy wire. But I kind of have him in his pose as though he's kind of grabbing his cape. And I definitely would like to get some shots with him using his cape as a parachute. So that is a desire. Again, wishful thinking, but soft goods would have been awesome. But other than that, y'all, he's just straight white. They did put a little bit of gray wash that I pointed out here on his hood, around his eyes, and of course on his chest around the crescent moon right there. So he is legit, man. I highly recommend this guy. He can be found at Walgreens. He's a 2020 Walgreens exclusive, and he's been popping up everywhere, so I don't think you should have much of a problem locating him. He hasn't shipped yet. I don't think he's going to ship if you pre-ordered him from Walgreens until late August, I believe. Could be wrong about that. So yes, give a high recommendation for this dude. So listen, y'all, if you enjoyed the video, enjoyed the review, consider subscribing, hit the notification bell, give the video a like, and again, I want to thank everyone for subscribing. I hit that 200 subscriber mark. Might have to do a giveaway here coming up soon, y'all. We're going to see about that. And until next time, as we say here in New Orleans, there's a bon temps, mes amis.